Hello, gentle listener. The Nocturnal Transmissions podcast, your friendly provider of delightfully dark short horror fiction, has a new episode available. And it goes a little bit like this. Stella would be in bed by the time he arrived, but he would lean over and kiss her sleeping cheek. Then he would undress and climb into bed beside her. In the morning, when she woke, Stella would have no idea that it was a stranger who lay beside her in bed. That it was, in fact, some thing from off the moors. The Nocturnal Transmissions podcast. Come get some.
Spectrovision Radio.
Telemetry in launch condition.
Well, some other observers.
Hey, it's late night.
It's late night on the astral plane, where it's never too late. With your host, Brian Singer.
It's more fun to believe.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me on another voyage on Late Night on the Astral Plane. I've got my buddy Jessica here. Is this the first time on Late Night on the Astral Plane, even though you did Me and Paranormal You a bunch, or did we already do one?
I think I did one a few months ago, maybe right before I moved here, maybe in May.
Okay, yeah, I guess I could have done like literally the least amount of look back and
Nah, it's good banter.
I also did something I've never done before, and I did it so last minute that I put Patreon has this new thing called Quips or something, right? So it's like they want to turn it into like a Twitter feed. It's just like, what do we do? Why do we have to do this? And so I posted a question to see if anybody had a question for you and Oscar. And so we'll see if anybody responds to that in the next, 30 minutes. Because like I said, I did it very, very last second without running it by you. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens. Let me just refresh that. Let me view the page so I can see, because I don't know if I get notifications about that kind of thing. Okay, so I've got that all set up.
Okay.
But
I did have.
No, you go.
Oh, I was gonna say there was like a sweet little message that I got from someone on Instagram who I've chatted with, I think, a little bit over the years. But she had reached out saying that she was listening to an episode with you and I on your podcast, and she heard us mention like a previous podcast, and she had never heard the Oscar origin story, and she went back and listened to that and wrote me a beautiful note just about an experience that she had that was super similar. And it was just like this wonderful little validation exchange that came about because of your podcast. So I was like, that's just a sweet little note to start on. She was wonderful, and the way she wrote her experience was really beautiful.
Well, I love to hear that. I mean, if nothing else, the beauty of podcasting and, talking to, beautiful weirdos, is that, more beautiful weirdos find more beautiful weirdos. And and find that validation like you're talking about. So that's
the
great.
Weird mind synapses.
Yeah, and that, because I was actually thinking about that today. You just said weird minds, and about I know one of the early episodes. on Me and Paranormal You, you and I talked about the origins of the word weird, and
Mm-hmm.
which I highly recommend everybody going back and just, if this is the first time you've ever listened to the show, just go back to the beginnings of Me and Paranormal You interview. The first time I talked to Jessica and Oscar, and then just listen to them in sequential order. And you'll
Yeah.
have, take a 15-mile walk and go do that, and then you'll be talking to Oscar by the end of. I was just on a walk yesterday, or 2 days ago, and because I remember you're like, oh yeah, when you're on walks, just like say hi to him, and so I'm like, so when I'm on walks, every once in a while I'll pop in and I'll just be like, oh, I remember exactly what it was too. Um,
Yeah.
I happen to be listening to an audiobook, um, and once I'm finished with it, I'll have the author on hopefully, but it's someone that
Mm-hmm.
you connected me to.
Oh, that makes me so excited.
And while I was listening to it, at one point I was like, "Oh, I know what this is like. I know what this is kind of an homage to." Or should I say, I
Yeah.
know who this is an homage, or who this is kind of an homage to, which was a really, really fun moment when I was out walking
Yeah.
about out in nature, and that
Oh
happened.
my God. Can we shout out the book?
Of course, we can.
Yeah. Arc Milk?
Arc Milk. That's ARK. Arc
Mm-hmm.
Milk. So I don't know how
Yeah.
many chapters there are because I'm doing the audio version on Spotify, which I think is. Am I mistaken in thinking that's the only version out of this book?
Yeah, he recorded that just because he had this like deep urge to get it out into the world, and that was his process of making sure it was available, was just putting the audiobook out on Spotify for free, and I got to have like, the joy of walking with him while he went through the process of writing that book, and I got to listen to the audio chapters because he would send them to me, and I just am absolutely floored and blown away by his his genius and his writing skills. So I love it.
Well, we're running into a dangerous thing here where
Yeah.
we're just end up talking about this all the time, and
Yes.
I don't know how many chapters there are in this book, but I will tell you this, that I'm seemingly far into it and don't feel like I'm far into it. Meaning, I
Hmm.
think this is like I will say this: this is an epic world building kind of thing that's happening um, that I'm listening to,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I'll leave it at that, and because I don't want to give any kind of spoilers or anything like that to people,
Yeah.
because
No.
it is so it's available for. I didn't know if it was like an unlisted link on Spotify, but it's available for everyone on Spotify. It turns out.
Available for everyone. Yep. If you feel the call, go check it out. And otherwise, we'll talk about it another time.
Yes, indeed, indeed, we shall. Now, you and I had usually we kind of fly by the seat of our pants here, and
Hmm.
which I think I don't know where that phrase comes from, but I imagine everyone's kind of sitting down when they fly a thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's what that means, but we wanted to talk about a little bit about belief burnout
Hmm.
and information overload, and because this has really been on, because you asked me what's on your mind lately,
Hmm.
what should we talk about, and so I'd love to hear your perspective on this because I think it's natural. I would assume, I don't want to say definitively, but for anyone
Hmm.
to have some kind of belief burnout, or burnout on in the thing that they're super into, especially if they start feeling inundated by it, by all of a sudden a bunch of other people are into it, and now they're inundated with like the beginning steps of their journey that they have previously taken are now being, uh, you know, just almost insurmountably presented to them by other people, and
Hmm.
it can kind of feel like I have done all this. Please stop asking me to keep doing this over and over and over and over again for you. Um, but that's
Yeah.
not. I don't think the best. I don't think that's a good way to handle that. Obviously, by saying
Hmm.
something like that. But what I mean by it can feel that way. I think
Hmm.
disclosure is obviously a really good example of that for the people who've been into UFOs and, the paranormal for years and years and years. Now all of a sudden, everybody seems to be into UFOs and like, oh my God, did you see that there's a UFO? It's like some people are just like, yeah, man, I've been haven't I been telling you that for 20 years? But
Yeah, remember in 2010 when you called me insane?
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think I believe belief burnout can be
Hmm.
obviously it's a thing that we've all experienced.
Yeah, and I feel like the angles and ways to experience belief burnout are probably like varied, and like there's probably nuance with every person that's experiencing it. For me, I don't know how to explain where I got to. I think I ended up getting to a place where I realized that there was no certainty, but a lot of the directions I was heading were getting deeper and deeper into the world building of belief systems. So like I explored the different types of aliens, obviously with the the entity that I met in DMT telling me, Oscar telling me he was from Polaris, which is a sun. Um, I got into exploring the different types of aliens and then the star seed stuff. And eventually I just kind of got to a point where I was like, this isn't doing anything for my lived experience here. This isn't beneficial to gather this information. I don't know what to do with it. And I've barely scratched the surface on my human ancestors.
Yeah.
But I'm deep into this website that looks like it's straight out of the 90s. And I'm reading everything this unknown author has to say about Lumerians. I don't know. So I think that there's that form of burnout. Is that what you were kind of speaking to, or are you talking about more of like, I don't know, you know how it's like unbelievable how much therapy speak is out there right now and everyone's a narcissist and everyone's an empath. That was kind of 2 years ago. But I got pretty burnt out on that information as well, which is also a belief system.
Yeah, well, it felt like you were either or. You're either an empath or you're a narcissist, right?
Yes. Pick a
It was,
side. Duality.
it's like, and
Yeah.
every empath knew a narcissist, and every narcissist was mocking empaths. Um,
Yeah.
and so,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just kind of thinking, I'm just kind of riffing about this because I've never really thought about that, but
Hmm.
until you brought it up. But yeah, it does feel, I guess, maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Oscar,
Um,
Oscar says fingers pointing in mirrors. You're the You're yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's so funny too because
Mm-hmm.
there's trillionaires who will not be named, even though there's one of them, who calls it
Mm.
the empathy trap, and some of these like techie billionaire type folks who like holding power over people, they call it the empathy trap. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
don't fall into the empathy trap. Worry about yourself and focus on what is good for. So it's like you definitely have reactions against the rising
Mm-hmm.
tide of people trying to tap into their empathy and their empath nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And there's a really wild example of a belief system that empathy is a trap. That is a very interesting belief system that was probably built out of some need to not feel.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So,
yeah. And people who listen to this show know that I need no excuse to start going off about this person.
yeah,
And,
yeah,
what it's like, what does that
yeah.
tell me about myself that I want to be a
The
trillionaire?
Marsh,
Uh,
the Martian Overlord.
yeah. The Martian overlord. I mean,
Yeah.
there is, I think I'm talking about kind of like what we were talking about when it comes to belief burnout, but
Hmm.
also I don't know, maybe it's also emotional overload to a certain degree
Hmm.
when it comes to there's and I want to be clear that definitely making a distinction here between that phenomena of being into something before everyone else, or at least seemingly
Hmm.
before the majority of people, not everyone else, because I don't think anyone ever knows who the first person into a thing was. Um,
Yeah.
And why does that even matter? First of all, but also, so there's a distinction between now, oh, everybody likes it, so I'm just over it. Like that's not what we're talking
Yeah.
about. Like, calling UFOs and aliens sellouts because because everybody's into them would be kind of a funny idea. But um it's, the
Very
idea.
hipster.
Exactly. So disclosure is very hipster now, to a certain
Hmm.
degree by those kind of measurement sticks. But that can be, I don't know. I feel like it happens I know it happens in comedy. There's ebbs and flows of being able to watch other comedians or listen to comedy when you've been
Hmm.
immersed in something for so many years.
Yeah.
And you're so into it, and then there comes a time where I know, at least for me, where I'm like, I feel like I take a step back and I'm like, I can't listen to another podcast or a comedian right now. Like a
Mm.
burnout, like I feel burned out by it to a certain degree, even though I still love it.
Mhm. Yeah. 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 I feel that with my environmental work right now because I think I came into the new role that I'm in thinking I could really, really make a solid difference. And the work does make a solid difference, but it is unrelenting. And all there's no easy way to move First Nations rights forward in the environmental space because everything is pushing back against it. So the belief system in that regard would almost be like the way that the regulatory system is set up and the belief systems that governments and industry adhere to that doesn't have any space for nuance or other ways of thinking, which is exhausting, honestly. What is a belief system?
Right. I mean, I
What
think
is it,
it's,
and
I
what
mean,
purpose is it supposed to serve?
that's a very good question.
Yeah.
And I think, if nothing else, a belief system off the top of my head, at least for me, would be okay, what are certain parameters? And in our messaging back and forth talked a little bit about scaffolding.
Hmm.
And I think that's a great visual image for it. Um, scaffolding is used in very specific circumstances. And
Hmm.
the main thing it's used for is to help in the building of something bigger.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so for me, a belief system is, something bigger than ourselves that we can, hopefully, we can get into and,
Hmm.
devote ourselves to some degree, to take us
Hmm.
out of ourselves
Hmm.
and think of, other things and other people outside of ourselves, according to whatever the
Yeah.
parameters of that belief system might be. So, I mean, it gives us
Yeah.
meaning, potentially as well. I mean, I think that's probably the big thing.
Yeah. And how beautiful is that feeling when you're into something and you've got like a belief system that feels a little bit obscure and you meet someone that's right in alignment and is vibing with you on that belief system. There's nothing like that feeling of really being seen and feeling you can talk freely about something that might not be so accepted by a wider audience. So I
Oh,
think
yeah.
that belief system creates connection as well.
Yeah, that's comfort and community, right? And
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's why probably anytime a flat earther meets another flat earther, they're probably best friends immediately.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh my God. Have you ever heard of the book Flat World? I think it's called Flat World.
Oh, wait, it's the first sci-fi book, right?
I think so, yeah. It's about like
Yeah,
living
yeah.
in a two-dimensional reality.
And
Yeah.
it's the people start talking about 3D, and those people are crazy. Those people are
Yeah,
considered to be
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah, I
That
think
always makes me
that's
think of flat earthers.
yeah, yeah. I think it's considered. I wish I could remember the author's name because I read it. I think
Hmm.
about 10 years ago. Someone recommended it to me as like
Yeah.
is what's widely considered to be the first sci-fi book ever written.
Yeah, my friend that's a mathematician told me about it, and I think I got through three-quarters of it, so I shouldn't I always laugh at myself when I ask people if they've read something, and I'm saying it as though I've read it, and I've only read about half or three quarters of it. I'm like, yeah, that's a great book. Don't know how it ended, but
Yeah, that's the thing.
yeah.
Like, that's why I'm always hesitant to,
Mhm.
talk so loosely about books I haven't finished sometimes because I'm like, I don't know how it ends. It could really take a turn. And I could be like, oh, you got to read this book. And people are like, are you crazy? Like, do you know what this book is ultimately about? And I'll be like, oh, I'm only about halfway through, but so far it's great. And they're like, well, at
Takes
the
a
end of
sharp turn.
yeah, it takes a sharp turn. It advocates for the killing of large groups of people by the end of it. Oh shit! Okay, I didn't know.
Oops.
It started off as a romance, I thought, but
Yeah. Wrong
yeah,
belief system.
yeah, but it is interesting to think about. You know,
Hmm.
which belief system is even like you want to talk about a romance? Which one's attractive to us? And I
Hmm.
think let's talk about that. Let's take a quick break. This will be the
Yeah.
first two breaks. Just remember patreon.com/Ryan Singer. No commercials over there. I'm probably going to do commercial free for everybody over there for this one.
Woo.
So even the free members over on Patreon, go to patreon.com/Ryan Singer. Even if you're not a patron, and just become a free patron, which costs you literally nothing. And you can listen to this one without commercials. Isn't that life? I mean, like when I think about the entertainment industry and how it's all driven by commercial money, and it makes me want to live in a cave and just have a small wall at an antique village where I sell T-shirts,
Hmm.
and not have anything electrical close to me. But
I love that.
this is the life that, for whatever reason, I've chosen. So we're going to be right back with my buddy Jessica. We're talking about belief systems, and if belief system had an app, which one are you swiping right on? And we're back.
Me? Oh. Is that a question for me?
So I love this idea that belief system we're in a relationship with a belief system. I guess it's true
Hmm.
because I don't know. Can you think about how many relationships with belief systems you've had in your life, and how many you've ended, and how many ended like not so good? Or
Yeah, there's been a lot of shifting. It almost feels like the design has changed halfway through each belief system that I've had. Like either I've shifted or a new thing has come in. I've gone, oh, I didn't think about that. I'm gonna have to add that. Okay, we're gonna have to shift the whole structure to the left. Um, yeah, and I don't know if I've ever completely and totally dropped any of them as much as I've just made a really interesting collage of all of them.
hmm.
And I feel like that there's a lot of freedom in that, of not really having a fixed belief system. Like, I wonder how people that are like very theological, like a very theological, like Catholic, how are they not burnt out going every Sunday and reading the Bible? It's the same thing over and over again. Wouldn't that also be burning you out? But there's this like dedication and drive in some of those individuals. I'm like, whoo, I don't have that. I'm hopping from Buddhism into like light Christianity into the Amazon jungle cultures all over the map. And I don't have any restrictions. I grew up completely free of religion other than my grandmother on my dad's side once sent a Catholic priest over to baptize us, but my mom said, "Get out of here." So that was my only experience, and I think I was too
Hmm.
young to know that it happened. So
Yeah. Wow. Well, I've got
yeah,
like a fly swatter swatting the priest.
yeah.
Get out of here. Yeah, that's interesting to think that you can just
Hmm.
kind of and there's no rules. Why couldn't you just take the pieces that you like and parcel together something that works for you? And
Yeah.
you know,
Well,
in,
I will say that the one belief system that I've found that's actually like tangible and I'm able to touch it is the belief system to be in right relationship with nature.
mm,
Because I think you can feel that if you lived as I did from multiple portions of my life quite disconnected, like not sitting down and really engaging and feeling into the trees, the water, the soil, the plants. you really notice when you reconnect. There's like a tangible sensation in that belief that you can connect with nature, in my opinion. Where some other belief systems, I don't, maybe it's just a little bit further of a distance, so that connection isn't so close.
Yeah, well, I think some of these other belief systems, they're so intangible
Mm-hmm.
that it's impossible to ever really feel like you have a grip on them unless it's some kind of emotional moment or some kind
Yeah.
of mystical or spiritual or like a spontaneous, spiritual experience or mystical experience, which, it
Mm-hmm.
mirrors spontaneous paranormal experiences almost to a T. These overwhelming
Mm-hmm.
emotions and feeling moved and like some great insight has been, shown to you, or modern
Mm-hmm.
people have been calling it in the last, 10, 15 years or so, downloads. Same thing, but just kind of being, like just being overwhelmed. But yeah, I do love that though, because you can get your hands and feet dirty on the belief system of nature.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Belief system. Do you know Dr. Bruce Lipton?
The name sounds familiar and I
Hmm.
can't place where or why.
He wrote a book called The Biology of Belief after doing stem cell research that showed that genetic determinism isn't what's happening for the majority of the time. So I think, don't quote me on it, I think he was a researcher and professor at Harvard, and he was teaching genetic determinism while doing stem cell research, changing the medium that would be like the blood for the cells, changing it and noticing that the stem cell would do different things. And he was like, well, what controls the medium? And it's the endocrine system, which is controlled by perception. So the beliefs and the perception were impacting how the blood was, um, I guess, the endocrine chemicals within the blood. So high cortisol, stress, high dopamine, and that was creating the reaction in the stem cell, what the cell would become, whether it became cancerous, whether it became whatever. And so he actually, I think, fundamentally ended up getting kicked out of Harvard for going against what the books say. But he always said that he would say, "What is a belief system? It's bullshit, BS, belief system." And
Wow.
I grabbed onto that when I heard it because growing up, my belief system was subconsciously that everything sucked. I was in danger all the time. Life was really hard and there was no escaping it. So, in order to shift that belief system, I needed to recognize that I had it in the first place. Is that, yeah. So, calling bullshit on that belief system and knowing that that scaffolding is something that can shift and change.
Calling BS on the BS.
Calling
If I didn't
BS
have
on
a
the BS.
microphone in front of me, I'd be screaming right now, "Give me this book. Why have I not read this fucking book
Yeah.
yet? I need to
Yeah.
read this
Biology of
book."
belief. Yeah, he's lovely. He's lovely.
And
Yeah.
Bruce Lipton is his name. And I wonder if he's related to
Yeah.
James Lipton inside the actor's studio. I could just
Maybe.
I feel like there's such a connection there between like, using your mind to believe you're another person to be a great actor and having
Yeah.
control over
Hmm.
this matter, right? Um,
Hmm.
oh
Hmm.
my God, like that,
Yeah.
and it's so just typical and frustrating when someone follows the research and it goes against something and then they are
Hmm.
ridiculed for it. Even though,
Talk about belief systems,
yeah.
right?
And
Right?
and so when
Yeah.
belief systems, do you remember when they were making and they probably still have it. What is that? Robot battle bots or something? Do you know what I'm talking about? Battle bots.
Oh,
It's
like
such
with
an
the
American
TV
thing.
show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That was so funny.
Yeah, and
With the one
yeah,
the
yeah.
arms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And I guess you could have, I mean, I could just see like it's a single elimination tournament of belief systems. You have like the
Hmm.
bracket of 64 different belief systems, and they go
Hmm.
into the quote unquote ring and they face off against one another and like who's strong enough and who stands the test of time to actually survive. But um But there's
Yeah.
limitless belief systems, I suppose, and potentially even within us simultaneously.
Yeah. 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 Oh my God, 100%. And I think as you're saying that, the question that comes up in my mind is like, man, collectively, I think it would really be a benefit for us to all vet our own belief systems. And like what's the end game of a belief system? And I think when I that's why I
I'm sorry, I'm
really
laughing. I'm laughing because I was
yeah,
like, this is like you're reading my mind.
yeah,
Of as I'm
yeah.
like doing an inventory over here, like, oh, what do I believe in? And oh God, did I
Mhm.
just comment that I hope Home Depot has a sale on pitchforks and torches on a data center post? And I'm like,
Yeah.
like my belief system about like destroying data centers is so strong right now.
Mhm.
It's like, well, what's the end game?
Yeah.
Am I gonna like, yeah? It's like, what is the end game here?
Yeah, I for one currently am in support of that belief system around data centers because what I was gonna say was and I'm reading this amazing book called my God, I might just have to go look at it. Traditional Ecological Knowledge, I think is what it's called, and it's a series of essays on indigenous knowledge and how it can for the betterment of humanity impact the way that we're relating to the natural world. So not in all cultures, obviously every culture is different. There's so much nuance, especially in North American and South American First Nations cultures. But for a lot of it, they're looking at the belief system that is considering the next 7 generations. And the Western colonized world is thinking, how can I make money? Or how can I make my employer money? Or how can I make money? And that's kind of where a lot of the focus is. Like, there's obviously people in the arts and there's people that are nurses that are taking care of people. But like the big cultural thing is what can we take off of this planet to make stuff for ourselves?
And occasionally you might think about generational wealth to take care of my family, but I guess it's kind of a
Yeah.
bastardization of that
Hmm.
previous,
Yeah.
cultural outlook
Yeah.
about thinking about
There's
the people
no,
after us. And I don't think yeah, like you
yeah.
said, like the data centers are a perfect example. Like they're not, those people aren't thinking about that in any way, shape, or
Mm-mm.
form for the people that it's affecting, especially.
Yeah.
They
And
might be
the
thinking about
this
their own accumulation of wealth, but
those wasps are hanging out by me. They don't like when I'm talking about capitalism.
wasps
Okay.
seem, if I had to guess, okay, like hierarchy. Okay, let's make a list of insects that are the biggest bootlickers for capitalism. I think wasps is
Hmm.
number one on the list.
Mosquitoes.
Oh my God, yes, mosquitoes. They literally are the bloodsuckers.
They're literally working for what is it, Microsoft?
That's a deep dive. That's an allusion to the Bill Gates bioengineering
Yeah,
mosquitoes
yeah,
conspiracy theory. But
hilarious.
hat tip to that.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I just won't
The,
abide. I was camping the
the,
last couple days, and I just can't abide a bloodsucker.
no, no, they're the nature's tax man.
Nature's
Yeah,
tax man.
yeah, yeah. I always like I tip my hat to those kind of conspiracy theories now because well, one, if I take them super seriously into heart, like I'm not sleeping at night, so I just go, that's pretty funny. But I have this so sometimes I don't. I will admit that sometimes I get real lost in the upper scaffolding. But if I were to let myself come down to the foundation that I've built over the last 36 years of existence, I've got this weird, unshakable faith that things are going to work out. And that doesn't necessarily mean everyone's going to survive. I think death is perfectly safe. I was shown that at one point, in just the most remarkable setting. Uh, but yeah, I think we need to vet our belief systems. And when I was speaking to the next 7 generations and the 7 generations before, and honoring that in a cultural way, when they're doing that, they're not just focusing on their own familial generations. They're thinking of all of our relationships, which is to the plants, to the sky, to the soil, to the rivers. They're not just looking at relationship as human to human, it's relationship with the one-leggeds, which are the trees, the four-leggeds, so the deer and the bear, right? They're in community with the ecosystem where we as Westerners from a young age are conditioned, which creates a belief system that we're not actually a part of that. That's out there, that's nature. We're here in our city, nature's out there, and we'll take from nature, we'll get our trees, we'll do all these things, but that's not actually our house. Those aren't our relatives.
I mean,
So,
it's profound to think about the disconnect between human and nature. When I think about just in general the United States of America, specifically because that's where I'm a part of, and with the endangered species, just literally a couple days ago, a bunch of them being put on the okay to hunt list, the public lands allegedly being opened up to data centers, national monuments that belong to First Nation cultures being just reduced by 90 to 95% in total size, and the EPA not having regulations for pollution from data centers into the drinking water. And I'm thinking like, wow, the disconnect between human being and nature is so damn prevalent. And something that also seems so clear to me is, the worship of, and I'm not trying to sound like some kind of, Christian person who's like, you can't worship the dollar over God, but people do worship the dollar, and they think that it is God. They think money is God and will save them from any great tragedy. Like these billionaires honestly think they're probably trying to build their arks for the Great Flood right now in some way or another, right? Like they think their money can save them from the destruction of the habitable planet for humans, and that's such a disconnect from nature. So
yeah.
that's probably the most extreme version of it I can think of.
Yeah, and for the I will say like the layman, like the average person that isn't one of these oligarchy billionaires, like allowing yourself to sit back and question, like, wait, who does my belief system benefit? Like, if I am not relating to the natural world around me and caring and acting as a steward on the planet, and I'm instead fixated on what's in my bank account, getting the newest SUV, watching the newest Netflix documentary on that famous couple that murdered each other. I don't know how you murder each other. I don't know if that's a real documentary. This would be really interesting. I'd want to watch that one actually, if people murdered each other at the same time. But you get fixated on those things, like who is that benefiting? Is it benefiting you? Is it benefiting the people you love? Is it benefiting your neighbors, the world around you? Or is it benefiting people that are actually like siphoning your energy the same way they're extracting from mines and they're cutting down forests? They're doing the same thing and they're not managing it well. That's the problem with resources. It's the problem with what our society is doing, is it's not being managed very well. And we're seeing that as it progresses. And I would say the fat's rising to the top, the fat being the people that are in the limelight running the planet right now, that we're noticing all of the corruption, and that fat is turning sour at a rapid pace.
Yeah, and it's amazing that you said what you said and the way you said it, because I literally had the visual image right before you were talking about they're taking our energy as resources the same way they're taking the trees and the mines. Because I was thinking to myself, like, these 98% of the world, 99% of the world is viewed by these people as just a natural resource. Like they would sooner chop down a tree as they would, or chopping down a tree and chopping down us. There's no difference to them.
Yep.
In when framed by their belief system of, well, I've been anointed for some reason to have all this power and resources and money. There's obviously a reason for that, and it's probably because I'm better or superior, or it's God has decided that it's
Yeah.
my right, my divine right to be in a position to lead, and things like that. But it is kind of crazy to think about. But
Yeah. I think greed corrupts. And I think greed is a lot like crack, heroin, and meth. Like I think it doesn't look the same in form of addiction physiologically, but I think it's doing a similar thing to the mental capabilities of someone,
Yeah.
which
And
that might just be a naive view. They could literally be evil. I don't know.
well, that's also true. They could be psychopaths.
Hmm.
But which I believe is probably, my safe money's on that. But I also think about like my own life. I'm like, well, if I have a choice between peanut butter M&Ms, share size, or party bag, I'm always getting the party bag because I'm being greedy. And I
Hmm.
don't
Yeah, why
need
wouldn't I want more?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't need the
Hmm.
party. It doesn't always need to be a party. Um,
Hmm.
but I want to get back to, we're going to take our last break, and when we come back, I want to talk about at the bottom, the lower scaffolding. There's an unshakable belief that things are going to be okay. And because I resonate
Hmm.
with that.
Yeah.
And that resonates with me in a very reciprocal way. So I've
Yeah.
got Jessica
Um,
here. We're talking about beliefs, and we've got, what is this? Or
oh,
wait.
I was just going to say that I'm being waved at from Oscar, so
I thought
he's
a
more than
transmission was
happy
coming in.
to
Yeah.
jump in and discuss, yeah, the main
Okay. Yeah.
four.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I was like. Oh, what do we got? I was like, oh, we got it. Like, we got it incoming. Um, and okay, we're gonna be right back with Jessica. And it sounds like Oscar's waving at us. Might want to say something when we come back. This is the last break, and patreon.com/Ryan Singer. All patrons get this episode ad free. So go on over there and become a free patron if you haven't already, or be one that pays money too. I mean, if that's your, if that's what you're feeling, I'm totally into that as well. We're gonna be right back. Okay, we've returned. I want to get into this unshakable belief in the lower scaffolding
Hmm.
of
Hmm.
building belief systems. Down at the bottom, there's this unshakable belief that you said that you had, that everything's going to work out. Am I kind of getting that right? Or it's going to be okay?
Yeah, so I'm gonna just gently correct that it's, oh, a little jumping spider has joined us for our conversation. When I say unshakable, that might not be as true as I would like it to be because I think it gets shook quite a bit, quite often. But after the rubble has been cleared away, when it's shook, it remains. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Like
it
it
makes
is
total sense.
there. It's the core.
It can survive the
It's the
dark
core.
nights of the soul, and it will still be there, even if it's not as formidable as maybe it once was. It just takes a different form.
Yeah, and generally I find, and this just might again be the way my belief system has been structured, when I run into those things, oftentimes I will verbally, which we would just consider that prayer, I suppose. I will verbally ask for help getting back there, and it comes. It comes. We've got a spider joining us, which is like the weaver of the webs.
That's really,
So,
really cool. There was a bunch of jumping spiders. I was camping this past weekend in Caesars Creek State Park in Ohio, hoping to see
yeah.
some, Bigfoot stuff. And there was just little tiny baby jumping spiders all over the picnic table at the campsite.
They're so smart. They're so, you know that they're the spider that's been known for the most like emotional response with people.
What?
That's why people have them as pets. Yeah, they have like they build relationship.
Oh my God. I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah, look into it. Look into the jumping spiders.
Okay.
Where did you find your unshakable core belief?
Well, I think your clarification is right on the money on that.
Hmm.
And it's changed over time. My belief systems
Hmm.
have dramatically shifted from what I was raised into and then what I came into on my own by discarding some pieces and then learning about a different thing and being like, that actually sounds so much cooler than what I believe right now. I'm going to just do that now. Yeah.
Yeah, new couch.
Yeah. Swapping out furniture. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't know where it comes from ultimately. Maybe, it's not beyond the possible, scenario that the way I was raised in religion um, had something to do with like trying to find some kind of hope or some kind of love or light at the end of the tunnel, potentially. But it just
Hmm.
always felt better to me than nothingness. And I was a little kid, and I was in the car with my dad, and I have no idea what was going on or why we were having this conversation. Something happened on the radio. I don't know what it was, and we just stopped at the driveway. And before we got out of the car, just my dad just goes, that's you feel a lot, don't you, for other people? And I go, what? I was just like, what? And he's like, yeah, you feel. He's like, you feel deeper than some other people do. I think what happens to other people affects you more. Um,
Hmm.
and I was like, oh, okay, I guess so. Because there was probably something on the radio that made me sad or something, right?
Yeah.
And but something about no matter how much I get caught up in my own thing, which is constantly and every day and all the time, being wrapped up in my
Hmm.
own thing and thinking about only myself. Um, that still finds a way to permeate through somehow. And I think for most people it does. And it's expressed in so many different ways. Like the hardcore conspiracy theorist. They want you to know the truth so desperately because you're being manipulated and they're
Hmm.
desperate to help you, right?
Hmm.
And it ends up getting expressed in what people would consider to be crazy ways sometimes. But at the
Hmm.
core of a lot of that is you're being poisoned by the doctors.
Yeah.
The food, you're being
Hmm.
lied to. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
fairness.
Hmm.
There's a lack of fairness in the world.
Yeah, and I know I kind of have been railing against like industry, but I do believe a lot of the people that work for those big industries believe that if we don't do this extraction, the economy will fall apart and then we'll all be screwed. So they actually want these projects to go forward and for the indigenous rights things to get out of the way because we need the economy. And they're not doing it because they hate nature. They're doing it because they believe that we actually really do need that to survive as a species or as a country or as a province, right?
Hmm.
So I will jump on board with your speaking of conspiracy theories. It's because they care, but we get lost in
But their
translation
belief
and
system is built differently.
we
And the
can't hear
things
each
that,
other.
yeah, and the things that matter are the things that block,
Hmm.
and vice versa for each other.
Hmm.
And, like
Hmm.
the spotted frog has to have its, environment protected. Well, now we can't use that fresh drinking water. And people don't have what, you know what I mean? So it's the things that matter are the things that block and vice versa. But um, yeah, it's tough, right? But I think the interesting thing about human beings is on some level, we're always trying to navigate our differences with one another to a peaceful end.
Hmm. Hmm.
Usually,
Yeah. 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 Unless we get really disconnected and then we go, just put them in jail.
just put them in jail,
Yeah.
put them away so I don't have to see them.
Hmm.
I don't want to
Hmm.
hear about them. I
Hmm.
don't want to see them. I don't want to interact with them.
Yeah.
Something must be
Schools.
wrong with them.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it can't be this. Um,
Hmm.
it is fascinating though to think that at the end of the day, you know, um, community and civilization, as we call it, the large gathering of people in condensed areas, it's not that old. We haven't been doing it all that long when you look at the history of like the Earth and space time and all that. And wow, how
Hmm.
quickly we've come to a situation where it seems a bit sloppy and it seems kind of messy. And I think the biggest indicator would be the gap between human and nature, like kind of what you're talking about.
Hmm. Yeah. 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 And again, it's not like those cultures before, like colonization of North America or colonization of Europe or colonization of anywhere. It's not like those cultures never had environmental degradation, but their relationship was very different from the one that we see today of extraction for profit. It was extraction for survival back then. And I think depending on the culture, there would have been a reverence, you'd hope. But
Yeah.
yeah, it might depend on the resource.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when it comes to being just burned out thinking about some of this stuff, and
Me right now.
when our unshakable beliefs are actually shook, um,
Hmm.
I'd be curious what Oscar thinks about and about kind of revisiting the joy,
Hmm.
or recapturing the joy. I guess I don't know. Maybe they're the same thing. Revisiting and recapturing the initial
Hmm.
joy that makes hope possible, and whatever belief system that we do have.
Yeah. So there's a few things that he was showing. Let me see if he wants to put them in an order or not. Okay. So he's showing get curious about your breath. So he is really like honing in on the notion, and I think this is actually Buddhist or Hinduism. I don't remember where I first saw this, but the idea that what we're inside of is like the expansion is the inhale. So the expansion of the universe is God breathing in. Big inhale, and then it starts to collapse and goes down into the nothing. So the pinpoint, and then the big bang is the breath in, and then the collapse. So he's showing if you want to find simplicity, if you want to find your center, come into your breath. And he's showing from there, it's really okay. So I'm just like double checking what he's saying here. So he's saying like the only consciousness that can block you from experiencing joy in any moment when you're centered is your own consciousness.
Hmm. Wow.
So he's showing you come into, and he's showing like who is the guy that went to jail in Africa?
Nelson
Um,
Mandela.
Thank you. I was like the Mandela effect. So he's showing like, for example, this person and everything he said about that isolation, and I think there's like the Damien Eccles also talked a lot about being able to find joy in like a completely hopeless space. Is he's showing it's really an inside job, and I know that when I've worked with different taitas in Colombia, one of the things that they would always bring it back to is like, it's your responsibility to think good thoughts, and you can't control what anyone else's energy is doing other than your own. And I suppose that would be that unshakable core has to be like right in here, like right inside. Said any more questions? Do you want him to elaborate?
Well, I mean, what's really cool too is like how much that kind of speaks back to what we were talking about at the very beginning of this, and like the
Mm-hmm.
endocrine system, and or just like the
Mm-hmm.
you know it's
Mm-hmm.
what was the name of the book, The Biology of Belief?
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
right on the money. And I
Yeah.
feel like it was as you were talking and before you asked me the Mandela question, I was like, oh, Oscar's hanging out here,
Yeah.
like in
All the
this
time.
room right here,
Mm-hmm.
too, like simultaneously. I'm like, I 100% can feel the presence of
Mm-hmm.
Oscar, of what I would consider to be like what I feel like when I feel like he's kind of popping in, or just
Yeah.
kind of being I'm puppy sitting right now. You know how a puppy always wants to be in the same room with you?
Yep.
I feel like
Yep.
it's like if I really got a hold of Oscar's scent, I would follow him around like a puppy. Um,
Oh man, me too.
just be in the room with him all the time. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I'd love to know, when I think about, the uh, the attachment problem to
Mm-hmm.
belief. Um, for me, it's I mean, I've got a bon. I used to do a joke where I've got a bonfire inside my body, and people love to throw in logs.
Mm-hmm.
They love to like stoke my flame, um, and I think that's true for everybody. And but it depends. Like, what have I attached to myself to, right?
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's kind of the same thing about what was the sentence? Like, or be mindful of or something about your
Mm.
breath, or what was it? Check in with your
Mm-hmm.
breath.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like, what do we do about the attachment problem? And like, that leads to that can,
Mm-hmm.
for me, I feel like it leads to the not having those good thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
I can get mad.
Mhm. Okay, so the very first thing that he's showing like really draw a line around is he's showing like if you're someone who's asking these questions, this information is for you. Don't try to put it on anyone else. He's showing different people are walking different incarnations, and some people this is not what they're here to do. So he's kind of showing like if you're someone asking these questions, beautiful, don't push he's showing the alarm clock. We ever talked about your? I remember when I was trying to like wake friends and family up in 2015, and I was coming online, and I was taking the acid, and I was learning the things, and like did that for a few years. And at one point, Oscar was like, "You're not an alarm clock," and I was
Huh.
like, "What does that even mean?" And he was like, "Stop trying to wake people up. Like you're not their alarm clock. They've got one. If it's gonna go off, it'll go off when it goes off. Like stop the pressure. And if anything, that just makes people close up. But for people that are hearing it, it's interesting he's showing you at some point really need to start parenting yourself, which means monitoring what you're taking in, making sure you're getting good nutrition. He's showing like a live feed of every disaster in the world being akin to only eating Dunkaroos. You're gonna start to feel like shit. So monitoring, and he's saying he's going back to the reason we connect with the breath outside of it bringing us into our center, it bringing us into the body, it's slowing us down, it bringing us into a rhythm. He's showing you're also immediately and directly connecting to nature. If he said, "Do you wonder where the air comes from?" So when you tune into that in and out cycle, he's showing the planet breathes through its seasons. The inhale is he's showing ice coming down onto the globe, the exhale ice going back off, like as the summer and winter,
Hmm.
the hemispheres shift. Um, he's showing the next step might be from the breath is to allow yourself to sit and feel your heartbeat and recognize that electricity driven rhythm is the earth. Like that is her heartbeat, the same heartbeat that's in you. So he's showing like if one of the ways to remember the flexibility in your belief system is to come back to truth that you can feel, touch, and see. You are made of the earth, sitting on the planet, breathing. Now, where's your belief system going to build from there?
Yeah,
He asked if that helps.
that does help. I
Okay.
mean, I feel like the diet thing is like, Oscar really
Mm-hmm.
put me on Front Street. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny because I mean, obviously, I think it's something we all kind of think about maybe sometimes, and then it's always in the back of our mind other times maybe. But I've been
Mm-hmm.
actively doing research on diet in the last like
Mm-hmm.
5 days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to even bring that up is pretty fascinating. So I feel
Mm-hmm.
like he's definitely speaking you know directly and also
Absolutely.
generally simultaneously. Kind of like how Shrek is for kids and adults. I feel like
Yeah.
Oscar is for the podcast and for me sometimes. Um,
Yeah. He does that. Even in the somatic sessions, I'll be like, okay, this is the way I'm seeing it. And someone will be like, unpacking boxes. I unpacked today. I just moved. And I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I didn't know, but he does.
yeah,
So,
yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty cool stuff. And
Hmm.
I think, yeah, at the end of the day, even believing that we're burned out is the belief system of some kind, right? And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
it kind of like it becomes this snake pooping its own head at some point. But and maybe like I feel like something that Oscar has kind of always kind of felt for me, at least in the way he's communicated through you and to us in the past, is like, hey, like chill out for a second. Um,
Not that serious, even though
yeah,
it feels serious.
literally everything is not the end of the world. And how many
Hmm.
times did you think the world was going to end already?
Hmm.
And how many times
Hmm.
has it? It's like
Hmm.
chill out, settle down, and then
Yeah.
what do people say when oftentimes they say take a breath.
Take a breath.
Um,
Take a breath.
yeah, so that's
Hmm.
that's that's pretty cool. I do think vetting our belief systems is probably the big takeaway for me, too,
Hmm.
from the talk. And okay, why did I
Hmm.
choose to believe in these A, B, and C? What is it doing for me? What is it doing for other people? And
End game.
yeah, what is the end
What's
game?
the end game? Hmm.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Is there anything else Oscar wanted to mention before we say goodbye for now?
There is. I'm just trying to figure out what it is. Okay, one second here. Hmm. Okay. So she's showing like a caution sign, about trying to build a belief system that he's showing like in quotes like figures it all out. Like trying to he's saying capital T truth. Trying to build a belief system that reaches capital T truth. He's showing it uh okay, so how do you want me to word that? So he's showing like you want to be careful that there's, and he's showing this isn't for an individual necessarily, but he's showing like wars are fought over belief systems because this belief system is the truth and I will kill for this belief system. So he's showing when we're working with our belief systems, it's really important to understand that there are many belief systems all over the planet that can be coexisting in harmony if we have an open enough heart to understand that he said it's all happening. I thought there was going to be some other grand wording, but he's like, it's all happening. Yeah, he's showing you'll have more fun that way. Uh, yeah. Hmm.
It's really kind of beautiful. And
Hmm.
by kind, I mean totally. But
Hmm.
I think back because of what Oscar is saying here to how many times I've learned about a new thing in my 50 years of being on this planet now. And how many times my mind's been blown wide open, like, oh my God, that is the coolest thing. What? Oh my God, that's a
Hmm.
thing? And there are so many more of those things that I have no
Hmm.
idea exist yet or know about
Hmm.
currently until I hopefully will be exposed to them or be told about them or will read about them or learn about them in some other kind of way. And so to think that any belief system is capital T truth
Hmm.
is
Yeah.
totally ignoring the fact
Hmm.
that we've had our minds blown and our opinions and beliefs changed, hopefully, if we're lucky, countless
Hmm.
times before. And
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
we're really lucky, countless times more in the future.
Hmm.
It's all happening.
Yeah. It's all happening. So he's just showing something. He's showing the capital T truth in the belief system. He's showing is it that happens because of trying to find safety,
Hmm.
trying to not be afraid, trying to have certainty. So he's showing like it's very human. It's a very human thing to do, but he's showing if you have the awareness to recognize you're doing it, then you have the ability to shift it.
Yeah, and certain belief systems, if you ask certain people, they would tell you that this is what's kept me alive. This is what's kept me safe. And it's a survival thing, and it's kept me alive, and I'm going to keep doing it because it's worked. And we don't know what that person has experienced to make them latch onto that belief system or build that belief system, but wow, that's really cool. It's it's oof, what a tenuous, fickle thing life is.
Yeah. I think I told you, this always makes me laugh, that one time when I was asking him what reality was, he was kind of like a little flippant. He's like, it's just like a bunch of D&D games, is like, because I was really into D&D at the time, and he was like, it's just this, but there's so many happening at once, all different stories all over the board. And it was when he was showing me, I think one of the first things we talked about was when he was showing me that reality was like this big ball of like story that was like, you could look in through any peephole and see a completely different reality.
Yeah, that's really, really cool to think of, like an endless viewfinder of some kind to peek in.
He said, if you think it's cool, recognize you're living in it. Yeah.
I mean, here we go again, blowing my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So many times this happens. I just keep saying, I mean, that's all those are the words. When one is speechless. It's been a joy as always.
I love chatting with you, Ryan.
I love chatting
so much
with
fun.
you
Happy
too.
50th.
Thank you.
Happy 50th birthday
50
too.
50 more. I might have to get a job, grow up and get a job now that I'm a grown up. I think 50 is when you're supposed to get a job, right? Or
I think they pushed that to 60 now.
Oh, did they? Okay, good.
Yeah.
Is that? That's funny. I love the guy who or the person who just thinks retirement is the opposite of what it actually is. Like, oh, you don't have to get a job until you're like 67. Now they pushed it back. That's great.
Yeah. Break the mold.
Yeah, but this has been wonderful. Thanks for taking the time to do it. It always happens right when it's supposed to.
That's perfect. Full moon tonight or tomorrow, or
there'll be a full moon when this comes out, so I'm going to put it out
amazing
tomorrow. So okay. This will be a full moon release for sure.
Perfect.
Thank you, Oscar. For some reason I was wondering if Oscar was ever going to get into bucket hats, because I know cowboy hat was a thing for a minute, but I wonder if Oscar would ever get into a bucket hat. And I just don't know if Oscar's got bucket hat vibes.
And he made like a weird joke about how it's for fishing trips, and then I kind of saw like a rave scene, so I don't know what that's about. Yeah, but yeah.
So thank you, Oscar, for hanging out.
Very interesting that you say that, though, because like when you were saying Oscar there, it was almost like a tipping of a weird hat that I saw, like "see you next time, Ryan" kind of thing. So
very cool.
Yeah, it wasn't a cowboy hat.
Okay. Well, I don't, it's not a fedora. I don't feel like, I feel like but it's not quite a baseball cap.
Yeah.
Maybe it's kind of a sun hat. Anyway.
Yeah.
Things to think about. I'll be awake at 4 a.m. being like, would Oscar like a sun hat? Would it be straw or would it be like synthetic? Anyway, is there anything you want to mention for people, or?
I'm still doing somatic sessions, so if anyone is curious, wants some help moving through some emotions, some physical stuff going on, basically anything that has to do with feeling or moving through what you're perceiving as a block, you can reach out at zen.lasagna on Instagram. I have a rule for myself, speaking of parenting, I only check on Sundays. I have it on my phone for about an hour and then I delete it. So if I don't get back to you right away, just wait for Sunday. I will reach out.
Love that rule. Awesome. Jessica, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. Bye, Ryan.
Love chatting with you as always. And, hopefully and certainly we'll do it again in the future.
100%.